Welcome to part 2 on the videos on using keywords to search for research papers. In the previous video, we covered identifying keywords. In this video, we will cover the next stage of the research process. Once the keywords are identified, the next step in the research exploration is to think critically about where to search. Where you search will depend on your specific information needs and requirements. There are different kinds of search tools. The first type are databases, such as JSTOR, and the second type are search engines, such as Google. Let's look at two different situations where there are different information needs. In our first situation, Robert needs to get their hair cut and is looking for a hairdresser. They do a search in a library database and find search results about famous hairdressers or how Edmonton hairdressers are the best, but nothing that will specifically answer their question about where in Edmonton they can get their hair cut. So they repeat the search in a search engine where they find numerous search results that answer their question, including a top 10 list. In this situation, Google, a search engine, was the best place to look for the information Robert needed because the information Robert needed was found in popular local sources. In our second situation, Robert needs to write a paper, but the professor stated they can only use sources that are peer-reviewed scholarly journal articles published within the last 5 years. Robert has decided to write about hockey, and since last time they searched, they were more successful in Google, they decide to start there. They enter the keyword hockey and see lots of great results that directly relate to their topic. However, they quickly realize that while there is a way to limit search results by date, they can't tell which sources are peer-reviewed. Further, when they begin examining the results, they quickly realize that most results are blogs, news sites, and websites, which are popular sources. Robert decides to try using a library database instead. When they enter the term hockey into a library database search, they get numerous search results and begin exploring them. Robert even notices that there is a peer review filter. Once they select this filter, they realize the search results have been updated to just peer-reviewed journal articles. Robert also noticed the filter for publication date and updates this to reflect the expectations of their professor. The results Robert are getting are now relevant to their research and meeting their information needs. In the second situation, since Robert needed peer-reviewed scholarly journal articles, a library database was the best place to search. These two situations demonstrate that depending on your information needs, the search tools you use are going to be different. However, in university, your information needs will usually be scholarly, academic, peer-reviewed sources. It can be tempting to use Google for all of your searching needs because you are familiar with it and it seems easier to search. However, because of the abundance of misleading or false information and a lack of scholarly sources, Google is not where you'd want to search when looking for sources for your research papers. When looking for research papers, databases are where you'd want to search. There are two different types of databases. The first are ones the library pays for access to, and the second are open access databases like Google Scholar. While sometimes it might be difficult to find the research you need, as databases have a learning curve, contain no simple answers, and it's easy to miss content. However, it is important to take the time to learn how to use them. Overwhelmingly, databases are the better option for finding research for your academic papers. They contain free, peer-reviewed articles, contain useful limiters, and free scholarly ebooks and books. While Google Scholar is sometimes useful to search in, there are several drawbacks. Google Scholar is not able to filter out non-scholarly materials. Google Scholar also has very few filters to help you narrow down your search results. Lastly, Google Scholar may direct you to links that ask you to pay for access to articles. As a student, you should never pay for access to an article. This is why searching in a library database is the best option. Let's return to our example about women and the First World War and try to identify the information needed as well as the best place to look. On screen are the guidelines from the professor for the assignment, which are peer-reviewed scholarly sources. In this example, the professor has specified that you can only use peer-reviewed articles. So the best place to search would be a library database. Identifying your information needs is an important second step in the research process, as this will allow you to choose the right searching tools to find the information you need. By starting from the very beginning, using the right tools, you will find locating sources easier and more efficient. We have now completed the first two steps in the research process. We narrowed our research question down to the keywords women and First World War. We also identified our information needs, peer-reviewed sources, and selected library databases as the best search tool. In the next video, we will cover how to use keywords and databases to locate relevant research. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please send us an email.